Você sabia que a jovem Puneh Ala'i conhece a Universidade Soca da América? Oi pessoal, meu nome é Mariana Bassi, sou da Revista Terceira Civilização e nesta edição publicamos uma entrevista na íntegra, exclusiva com a jovem ativista Puneh Ala'i. A gente ficou sabendo que a Puneh viria para um evento sobre educação aqui em São Paulo, fizemos contato e fomos muito bem recebidos pela assessoria do evento Clesap Escolas Exponenciais. E sim, se a Puneh parece muito simpática na entrevista, pessoalmente ela é um amor, super humilde, super gente como a gente. Ela é filha de imigrantes iranianos que vivem nos Estados Unidos. E devido a uma tragédia pessoal, ela foi ajudar pessoas que realmente precisavam em zonas de guerra lá no Oriente Médio. Devido a essa dedicação, ela fundou o projeto For the Unseen, ou Por Aqueles que Não São Vistos em português. Junto com iniciativas locais e por meio desse projeto, ela fundou a escola Birds of Hope, ou Pássaros da Esperança, em português. E atualmente, ela atende mais de 3.000 crianças refugiadas sírias. Foi um papo muito bom, de quase meia hora, a gente aprendeu muito, mas a gente queria trazer aqui um fundo de cena muito interessante. Quando comentamos que éramos da BSGI, uma representante brasileira da Soca HK Internacional, ela perguntou se tinha alguma coisa a ver com a Universidade Soca da América. A gente disse que sim, que o fundador era o mesmo, o Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, e ela falou, puxa, eu cresci nos arredores do campus. Muito interessante, né? Assim a gente pôde falar mais sobre o trabalho do presidente Ikeda em prol da paz mundial, falamos sobre as propostas de paz e ela se identificou e se interessou muito sobre as propostas de paz, principalmente as duas últimas enviadas à ONU. E você, ficou interessado em saber mais sobre a vida e sobre o trabalho da Puneh? Veja agora os melhores momentos da entrevista.
My first encounter was after sneaking inside of Syria. I went 5.5 hours into the middle of the war in the south of Idlib. And it's a memory and a time in my life that will never be forgotten, of course. I got to interact with refugees that were living in, hiding really, but living in dirt holes in the ground.
Wow.
That they had fled their homes and gone into like the hills or the outskirts of the cities as a form of protection. Mm-hmm. And you know, the thing that I really admired about them is in a time of turmoil and violence, there was a great, deep amount of love, connection, integrity. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, the term quality time, I didn't understand it until I was in the middle of all that.
Wow.
Sitting with them on the floor, no technology, no electricity, and just connecting. You know,
wow.
Just complete presence.
Yeah,
Human no
connection.
Social bubbles, as you were just referencing. So.
Yeah. What made you decide to develop the project, or it was
yes,
later?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I snuck inside of Syria in March 2013 to do immediate aid work. I bought food in bulk, handmade food bags, and distributed it to people. And that first trip was a you know, as they say, life-changing, a pivotal moment in my life because I saw things. I created bonds and relationships with these Syrian people. They're beautiful culture, beautiful people. And when I went back to Southern California, I had such a difficult time adjusting to what I knew as to be my home. And I couldn't stop thinking about the suffering and their needs. And it was that experience that made me think, well, I need to dedicate my life for the unseen and do some work that's sustainable, that's long-lasting, and that could really spread the message of one human race, which is what I firmly believe in.
Congratulations.
Well, the turning point was when I walked in on my best friend as he was dying, and unfortunately he died, and it completely changed the way I looked at life, the human experience, human emotion. It changed me. Tragedy tends to change people. So as a result, I quit my corporate job and wanted to do something that had more soul, something that was more fulfilling. As I said, I'm from Southern California.
Yeah.
It's a bubble of a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of trouble with reconnecting with the environment that I've known. There was a lot of disassociation with my own friends and peers. You know, the things that people were complaining about, I couldn't even listen to anymore. It was it had no real
relevance.
I couldn't understand why that was a problem when I had been sleeping on the floor with no electricity, no running water,
Yeah.
you
No
know, there's
security,
missiles, there's
yeah.
bombs. Like, so when I hear someone say something about a flat tire, it's like, it's gonna be okay. Just
What?
get out of the car.
Yes.
You know, like just
So
call
simple.
the tow truck. You know.
Yes.
My background in education, well, I spent about 10 years being a tutor for young kids back in Southern California. I have a bachelor's in literary journalism, so I'm very familiar with writing, reporting, reading, and myself personally, I just love learning. I love reading. I try to read a book a week. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't.
Congratulations.
It's not always the case. But I find the value of education. It's something that we don't recognize the benefits in the long term. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a formal education. Education can mean a lot of different things. One of the benefits of the school is that the first year or two, we were able to actually employ the adult Syrian refugees to be teachers. Wow. Some of them were qualified because they had degrees from Damascus universities. And we also implemented in their home life for the parents to work with their children and discuss with them what they saw back home, to talk with them so that they can understand why they're there. You know, to be more open to discuss your feelings, because that's not a common thing in those cultures. I mean, I'm an Iranian, and as a kid, like, talking about feelings wasn't something we sat down and did, you know. My mom, in fact, would be like, always like, don't cry. You know, she'd always like tell me to stop crying, you know. And I'm like, no, I need to cry, you know. So it's very, very important for there to be support from the ground, from the foundation, so their home life and the parents, and to value really the power of what education can offer them. And one thing I learned was the impact that you can make on someone's life.
Wow.
And no matter how small of an impact it could last, it makes a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I took with me when I decided to do my humanitarian work, and I did immediate aid work. That's what was the initial thing I did, and then I helped start the school. So just learning about human interaction, human connection, and really the value of love and kindness and how far it can go, and how you interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, something as small as how are you, or eye contact. So you know, in the Muslim religion, there's men and women aren't seen equally, unfortunately, and so I had to push that forward, and I had to use a lot of patience to make them understand that separation is not going to be the answer. Yeah. It's togetherness that's going to allow us to evolve and to grow. And believe it or not, they were very, very open to it. After having gone through the struggle that they had experienced and having to leave their homes by force, they were more willing to consider new ways. I don't know if I would say that it was easy for them to adopt this mentality on a personal level, because it's something that they're not used to. But they, you know, for instance, the children in the school, the boys and girls are in classrooms together. Wow. We try to invite them to vote, to think for themselves, to have their own voices, and we've advocated like art therapy as a means to deal with the psychological trauma. So there's a lot of principles that we've tried to maintain and stand by, so that the education that they're receiving is more personalized. It's not a big thing, but one small act of kindness, as has been said in many quotes by many Buddhists and incredible people in this world, can go a very long way in changing how someone feels in the course of their day and for the rest of their lives. Yes. So you just never know who's watching, and it's always important to just be as present as you can, and to have as much love to give others, regardless of any differences or whatnot. So. Yes.
To respect their dignity as your own.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It was a pleasure to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.